Okay, welcome back to our fourth recording. We are looking at the negation and equivalence of our conditional statement. Here we are, moving into our lesson. So we are here continuing on page 53 with number 8, where we have our truth table, and they give us some problems they want us to solve by finding our truth values for them. So let's go ahead and work that. Let's go ahead and you can pause right here and go ahead and fill in the truth table. Let's see if we remember those rules, and then we can come back and verify. All right. Okay, should be there now. So we're looking at P implies Q. So first things first, we need to look. I want to go through and remember that our setup, what if you're having two simple statements, our P and our Q, remember our first statement is always half true, half false. Our second statement is true, false, true, false. This gives us our 4 possible cases with these two simple statements. They want us to do the conditional statement, and we know that it's only false when we have the broken promise, which goes from true to false. So this is false. That means everything else has to be true. Remember, when you're doing your homework or your test and you have to fill in a truth table, you go faster and more accurately if you go ahead and fill in the outlier case. And then whatever is left has to be the other value. All right, remember that. Then they want us to negate Q. This would be F, T, F, T. They want us to find the AND for P and not Q. So P is here and negation Q. Remember, AND is true only when both cases are true. So I'm looking for 2 T's for our P column and our not Q column. So no, not here, but I do see 2 T's here. You see that? So this is going to be a T, no, and no. So that means that everything else has to be false. Okay. Then they want me to take my conditional statement, that's what I found here, and they want me to negate it. So whatever is here, I'm going to negate it, and you should have gotten F, T, F, F. Now they're asking me to negate P. Here's my P. I'm going to negate that, and I hit F, F, T, and T. For my last column, negation P or Q. We just found negation P. Now we're going to look at that with Q, but we're looking for the OR statement. We know that OR is false only when both cases are false. So looking at P and not Q, I'm looking for 2 F's. So keep your focus now. No. Right here I see 2 F's. You see that? It's an F. Nope. And nope. So the rest of them have to be T's. All right, did you get that? Okay, so now that we filled in our truth table, let's do some comparisons. All right, so what do you see? Because I see something right off the bat there. I see that my conditional statement has the same truth value as negation P or Q. You see that? So that tells me that these 2 things here are equivalent to each other. All right. You see anything else? Oh, look, I see here, right here. These 2 things right there, you see that? They have the same truth value. These 2 things. equivalent. What does this say? On your memory sheet, you have a space for these things. So the negation of the conditional and the equivalent to the conditional, we're going to go there right now. You see here at the bottom of your page, so negation of the conditional and the equivalent to the conditional. So the negation of the conditional, look at that. So the negation of the conditional, here's our conditional statement, right? You see that the negation of our conditional is equivalent to P and not Q. So P and not Q. So the negation of P implies Q equivalent to P and not Q. See? So the negation of our conditional is equivalent to P and not Q. Now, what's also equivalent to the conditional? Look at what we found. Here's our just plain conditional statement. We found that it was equivalent to negation P or Q. So negation P or Q. We have negation P or Q. What else is the conditional statement equivalent to? Remember, I told you earlier when we first started in our last video that the conditional statement is equivalent to its contrapositive. All right, so its contrapositive statement, and we know its contrapositive statement is negation Q implies negation P. So you have P implies Q, P implies Q. These are equivalent to its contrapositive and negation P or Q. Now we filled in all of our need to know sheet just that fast, right? Okay, now let's go back and do some problems to give us some solidification about it. So let's look at finding the negation of our conditional statement. Now we said the negation of it is equivalent to, right, P and not Q. So P stays the same. So when you're negating your conditional statement, remember, keep P as it is. Change your if-then to and then negate your Q. So it says if the mink is pink, the mink is pink, that's our P. Then the dog is green is our Q. We know that then it's going to become and, all right? And we know we got to keep this the same. This changes to and then we're going to negate, right? So we have no more if, okay? If is gone, because if then becomes the and. So we say the mink is pink. And what? Now we got to negate, right? The dog is not green. And there's our negation to our conditional statement. Keep the P the same. Change the if then to and. Then negate the second statement. All right, let's try these other two. Okay, go ahead, pause it, see if you can work it out, then come back. Okay, we're ready. Remember, no more if then. So it says the sheep is white, then the flower is not red. So when we negate it, we should have the sheep is white. Remember, we don't change it. Then comes and. Now we're going to negate the second part. The flower is not red becomes the flower is red. All right. And C. If all fleas are black, then some ticks are not gray. Remember, we got all are, some are not. So, keeping this the same, all fleas are black and some are not negates to all are. So, and all ticks are gray. All right, pretty good. So that's us negating the conditional. Now let's look at the equivalent to the conditional. All right, we're practicing. Now remember the equivalent, right? Equivalent. Just to make sure we're good. Remember what we said now. The equivalent to the conditional, our conditional statement, is equivalent to negation P. So we're going to take action on the P. Change the if then to or now and leave the Q alone. Okay, you see how it kind of flipped on us now. So we're going to change the P, change the if then to or, and leave that Q alone. Okay, let's do it. So when we're writing the equivalent, remember the equivalent to the conditional, we have negation P or Q. So here we are. We have if the mink is pink, then the dog is green. Becomes now the mink is not pink. Right? Or the dog is green. Right? So we negated the first statement, changed the if then to or, and then left that Q alone. All right, pause the tape right here. Take care of B and C, and we'll come back and check it. All right, so we have, if the sheep is white, then the flower is not red. When we're writing the equivalent, we will have the sheep is not white, or flower is not red. Right? And then C says, if all fleas are black, then some ticks are not gray. So when we rewrite this, we have all fleas are negates to some fleas are not. So some fleas are not black, or some ticks are not gray. So make sure you're, again, adding this to your flashcards or your write-up. It's probably there, but rewrite it again. Put it in your own words. Say it a different time, or put an example in there that you have to actually write the equivalence of, or to negate. So you can make sure you keep those separate, okay? And make sure you know which one is and which one is or. All right. Now they're going to ask you to take and write your simple, your statements in symbolic form, from symbolic to English, and then back again. So being able to transition your words into symbols and back again, very important, because then you're going to need this for, if you need to set up a truth table or anything like that, then you're going to have to go from words to symbols in order to do that. So let's try and get some practice in here. So it says, let's go from symbolic to English, or from English to symbolic. Here's our simple statements. It says, let P be, the dog is brown, and Q be, the cat is gray. Our first one, the dog is not brown, and the cat is gray. So the dog is not brown, because P is the dog is brown. So if the dog is not brown, then that should be not P, right? Then it says and, we know and is, okay. And then the cat is gray, yep, is Q. So the dog is not brown and the cat is gray transitions into negation P and Q. Everybody see what we're doing? All right, let's try this one. If the dog is brown, then the cat is not gray. So it starts off with if, and we know we're talking about a conditional statement. So if then, okay, if the dog is brown. So the dog is brown is P. So we have P implies. Then the cat is not gray. So Q is the cat is gray. So if the cat is not gray, we have negation Q. So if the dog is brown and the cat is not gray, that changes into P implies negation Q. All right, let's try going from symbols to words. So they give us P or not Q. So P or not Q. It's not an if-then statement, so I know it's just going to be an or statement, so I'm just going to go ahead with my P. My P is the dog is brown. So the dog is brown, or negation Q is the cat is not gray. Okay, everybody see what we're doing. All right, let's try this next one. Negation P, if and only if Q. So negation P, if and only if Q. Negation P would be the dog is not brown. If and only if Q, the cat is gray. Okay. All right, so I hope we feel pretty good about transitioning from words to symbols and back again. Go ahead and pause the tape right here and take care of E, F, and G, and then we'll check it when we come back. All right. It says the dog is brown if the cat is not gray. Now watch this here now. Put a star by this problem. We're going to say, watch it. Why? Look at the order. It says the dog is brown if the cat is not gray. So if they have the word if in your problem, that means that this is a conditional statement. But they put the if second. That means we got to change the order, because we know with a conditional statement, the if should come first, even though it's written second in the problem. You can change the order, and you have to. So here we are, watching this if. We're going to watch it. What do we have to do? Change the order. All right. So changing the order. And what are we changing the order of? I'm going to make it even more specific. We're going to change the order we're changing the order of this conditional statement so we could put it in the right form. So if the cat is not gray, so remember the cat is gray is cute. So if the cat is not gray would be negation Q implies the dog is brown, it's just P, P. So negation Q implies P. So watch this in the homework and in the test. It might show up. Might show up in a bonus assignment, okay? So watch the order, okay? All right, then you had negation of P and Q. Now remember how we read this. It could be, you know, a trivial opening or statement. So this right here. Trivial, okay? You can just simply say, it is not true that, right? Because that's what you're saying. You have this negation on the outside of these parentheses. And what are you saying? Not whatever's going on in these parentheses. So it's not true that this stuff isn't happening, okay? That's what you would write. So, oh, got my knot. It is not true that. And then you're filling in the stuff, whatever's in there. So it is not true that what? Whatever's going on in your parentheses. It could be something cute like this. It's going to be something bulky, a little bulkier. Make sure you're paying attention to what they're giving you. So what do we have? P and Q. So it is not true that the dog is brown. And the cat is gray. Okay, that's how you handle that. Don't try to distribute it and try to find equivalents or anything like that. That's too much extra work. They simply want you to write the words based on what they're giving you in symbolic form. So, excuse me. So, they simply want you to write what they have currently. So when you see that negative or that negation on the outside, you'll write, it is not true that, and then start writing what's in the parenthesis. Okay, G, the dog is not brown or the cat is not gray. Okay, so the dog is not brown would be, you must have gotten it, I'm sure, negation, P. Then, or the cat is not gray, negation, Q. And there we have that. Transitioning from symbolic to English and from English to symbolic. All right. Please make sure you're reading those selections carefully and take your time. Not too much time, but just take your time that you're picking the right one. Okay? All right. Okay. All right, here we are moving to number 12. So now here we are looking at 3 statements. So far we've looked at 2 statements. So we've looked at them, we've written them in symbolic form and back again. We've done truth tables with just 2 statements. So now we're looking at writing in symbolic form, English to symbolic and back again with 3 statements. And so what we have to pay attention to is that when we have that 3rd statement and they want us to write it in symbolic form, we're going to have to add that comma in there. Now we've been using a comma previously because that's just the way that we write. And so they've been putting it behind that first statement. Okay, but now it's going to be really important because it's going to tell us where we're going to have our parentheses. Parentheses are going to be important with their 3 statements because they're going to be apparent because they have to hold something together. And those that comma is going to tell us where the parentheses are and what they're holding together. So a note here. Okay, note that when you have three statements, let me get it together. We're going to use the comma to determine our parentheses. Okay. All right, so let's look at what's happening here. They give us 3 statements, P, Q, R. P is all fleas can hop. Q, some pigs are not pink. R, the goat is black. Here we see if all fleas can hop and some pigs are not pink, comma, then the goat is black. All right, now let's take a look at it real quick. After we finish reading this, you should see that we have a conditional statement going on. We have if and then. Okay, so we have an if-then statement. That is the main statement that we have, if then. But if you look at the structure of it, you'll see that we have two simple statements being held together by an and before we get to the then. So we have one statement, two statements, and three statements. See that? I'm just kind of pointing some things out so you can see. If you notice that the first two statements are before your main, I'm going to call it injunction, right? Your main heart of your problem. So we know that the whole gist of this statement is an if-then statement. But your first two statements are before you get there. Right there, that tells us that your parentheses are going to go before it. Holding these two simple statements together, joined by this and. Okay? The comma here always goes in front of whatever your main, I guess your main theme is. So if this is an if-then statement, it's always going to go before the then, and whatever is before it, if it's two statements, it's going to be held by the parentheses. If it's one statement, then you know that the two statements are going to be behind it. Then the parentheses are going to hold them together behind. All right? So know that the comma is always going to be in front of whatever is going on, your main statement, whatever your main statement is. Okay? Let's take a look here. So I just wanted to point out these things. I'm going to erase now. Think about what's happening. Okay. All right, now to analyze it. Now, all fleas can hop. This is our P. P. Some pigs are not pink. This is Q. Here's our comma. Then the goat is black. This is R. Now we know that if then, we know we're going to have that. We got our symbols right up there. Do you see it? We know that and is going to be that. Now you can see clearly pretty much where our parentheses are going to be holding this stuff together with the and. Now we just got to write it. So we have in parentheses P and Q, close parenthesis, applies R. All right. So we see we have one statement, two statements, right? So you have 1, 2, 3. Find the structure, right? When you read it, it should jump out at you if something is being held together with an and or if then. You know, looking at the structure, depending on what the main structure is, something is being held subsequently inside of it with something else. All right, let's take a look at coming from the symbols to words. Look at B. Look at where parentheses are. They're leading off, right? You have P and Q or R. You see the P and Q are coupled together in the parentheses, so you should have a comma there right before the or, and then your R statement, right? So coming from the symbols to the words, it's actually a little easier because you're writing exactly what you see. So let's do it. P and Q. So P is all fleas can hop, and Q is some pigs are not pink. There's my comma, or, right, or my R is the goat is black. Okay. All right, now pause here. Try this next one. All right, actually try C and D and then come back. Okay. C says negation P and negation Q in parentheses or negation R. So right here, I see these are coupled together with an and. I'm going to put my comma here, then my or, and then, okay, all right, so now I need to negate. Negation P. So all fleas can hop, all negates to some fleas cannot, okay? So you got that? Some fleas cannot hop. And negation Q. Some pigs are not pink. Some pigs are not pink negates to all pigs are pink. Watching our wording. Okay, I need a comma, then or, negation R, the goat is not black. All right. Then you did, the goat is not black if and only if, comma, some fleas cannot hop, and all pigs are pink. Now looking at our structure, you should see, it says, the goat is not black if and only if, then comma. Then it says, some pigs cannot hop, and all pigs are pink. So you see that these two, right, statements here are being held together by this and, all right? And then look at the structure now. It says the goat is not black if and only if, then these two things. So you have this one statement leading off, and then they have if and only if, and then you have these two statements. So we know that our parentheses should be at the end of our statement. What statement? An if and only if statement. That's the heart of our thing. So that's the double arrow in the middle. All right. So leading off with our R statement. And our R is going to be negated. It says the goat is not black. So we should be starting off with a negation R, double arrow, if and only if, what? In parentheses, these two things, some fleas cannot hop, right? So some fleas cannot hop would be what? Negation, that's right, okay, negation P. Because remember, P is all fleas can hop. Then they gave us some fleas cannot hop, that would be the negation of it, okay? Then, and all pigs are pink. So all pigs are pink, but we have some pigs are not pink. So then that would be negation Q. So now watch out now. It's like you're going backwards, which we are, okay? So remember, we're looking at the negation. But when you look at those quantified statements, it kind of looks weird sometimes. So you have to remember they're quantified, and so we have to remember how to negate those things, okay? And that they're giving us the negation of it. All right, how you feeling about it? It's not that difficult, okay? And don't try to make it difficult. Don't try to be, you know, trying to make it like it's going to try to kill you yet, okay? It's not doing that yet. We just got to take our time and get that practice in and make sure that we got the rules down. If you don't have the rules down, yes, it's going to be difficult, okay? But you have to have it down in your spirit first in order to know that you can handle anything that they give you if you got those rules down, all right? Let's go to E. Let me pull the page down for us. I'm going to make it just a little, there we go, so I can pull the wording. Okay, so E, we have P implies, in parentheses, Q and not R. All right, so you see the parentheses on the back half of our if-then statement. So we know we're going to start off with if what? If all fleas can hop. All right, if all fleas can hop, comma. Then our parentheses stuff is coming. Then what? Q. Some pigs are not pink. And negation R, the goat is not black. Okay. Now, go ahead. We have F, G, and H. Go ahead and pause right here and take care of those three. And then we'll come back and we'll finish up this lesson. All right. So, should have looked at our structure, making sure we're getting an eyeful of how they're giving us the statements, where our parentheses are, based on where the comma is, and what's before it or after it, what our main structure of the statement is, and that's going to give us some guidance as well. Here we are with F. It says the goat is black, and the pigs are not pink, comma, if and only if all fleas can hop. Right there, I see I should be leading off with some parentheses. I know you have them. It says the goat is black and some pigs are not pink. So the goat is black should be R. And Some pigs are not pink. That is your Q. Then close up that parenthesis. Then it says if and only if. So you have your double arrow. If and only if what? All fleas can hop. So all fleas can hop is P. So you have parentheses, R and Q. Close parenthesis, if and only if, P. All right. G. You see we're leading off here with some parentheses, and you have R. If and only if Q, close parenthesis. Or not P. So our R. Go. The goat is black. If and only if. Okay, so if and only if. Q is some pigs are not pink. Okay. Comma, or negation P, and P is all fleas can hop. The negation is some fleas cannot hop. Okay. And H. The goat is black, or all pigs are pink, comma, and all fleas can hop. Looking at the structure, you should write off C that you have the goat is black, or all pigs are pink, should be together in parentheses. You have an and, right? And then you have your last statement there. So you have the goat is black, that should be parentheses with an R. You have or all pigs are pink. So all pigs are pink. See, we have some pigs are pink. All pigs are pink should be negation Q. Close up your parentheses. Then you have your and all fleas can hop. Remember that he is all fleas can hop. Remember, always reflect on the simple statements to make sure that you're either writing them exactly how they're supposed to be or negating them correctly. So always look back to remind yourself so you don't get confused with that. All right, so we have gone from symbolic to English and back again using our 2 simple statements and our 3 simple statements. We've also looked at our forms of our conditional, the negation, the equivalence. So I hope it helps. You have your notes with you while you're doing your homework. And good luck. See you on the next lesson.